Hello everyone and welcome to the Elder Scrolls Online with me, your host Crypto, a Crypto Gamer, and in today's video guys we are going to be taking a look at my very first build video. So if you do enjoy the video, please like, share and subscribe as it really helps me in the algorithm. And here we go guys. So this build is basically a summoner's dot draining pet build in fact. And it is also going to be relying on a companion, but for the first part of this we're going to do it without the companion and we're going to go through the gear. So you're going to want the Necropotent set, an Infernal Staff with Fiery enchantment and a sharpened effect. This is going to help you with penetration. Your Lightning Staff is going to be Necropotence as well, and that is going to be infused with a Magicka regeneration glyph, which is going to be handy for you to do sustain. And then you're going to do Maw of the Infernal's Visage, which will add in some extra magicka, and it will also let you summon a Daedroth that will do damage 2169 flame damage every 2 seconds. And it is also a pet, which means it can be used for tanking, and you want Crafty Alfiq because that gives you a big massive bonus to magicka and you get higher spell damage because of your total bigger magicka pool. The Necropotence gloves are going to help you get extra magic through your pets, which is really important. It gives you a really big boost and thus also boosts your damage a huge deal as well. And I think it's really handy, and it's really good for a pet build obviously. Along with the Crafty Alfiq, this is what I prefer to do. Now what we'll do next is we will go into our skills, and we're going to use a mixture of regular skills and scribing. So first of all we're going to have the Twilight Matriarch, and we're going to double bar this on the same button. So I use X, you can use your own, but basically this is what we're going to use to proc one of the sets. Crystal Fragments is our spammable, which is very handy, and it does lose the cost depending on what other abilities you use. Flame Reach, so that you can put on a dot, a damage over time ability, which is the main part of this build by the way. And Bound Aegis to give you an extra bit of armor mitigation and also increase your max magicka by 8%. Fiery Explosion, I use this as it deals 16,210 damage and 12,120 over 20 seconds. And it also inflicts minor lifesteal, that's the script that I've used on it. And Comet. This will actually, because it's a Mage's Guild ability, actually give me an extra bonus chunk of magic as well, with an extra 4%. So this is why I end up with a magic pool of about 58k, which is not bad. 58.5 to 58.8. Structured Entropy, by the way guys, is a really good one for healing over time, and with Ice Comet this gives you an extra bonus because of it. Critical Surge, we're going to use that for empowering ourselves and increasing our damage by 20% for 33 seconds. And Boundless Storm as our damage shield, so that's also going to be doing damage over time if people get close to us. And then after that we will be using Soul Trap as well. Splitting Soul Trap in particular, as it damages multiple targets, particularly 3, but you can latch onto more. And this way you can do lots of damage over time. If you're hitting a boss or any major group of enemies with a lot of these different dots, which most of them are singular but some are multi, then yeah, you can do a lot of damage. Now on to champion points in the warfare tree. We are going to use Eldritch Insight, and this is going to give us extra maximum magicka. You really want to be focusing when it comes to your champion points on things that don't need to be slotted. So if it doesn't have quick A for a sign, those are the stats that you want to be doing up first in anything that you do with the champion points system. For the most part guys, I'm going to let you read over this while I was looking through, as it's easier to explain certain mechanics within champion points without having to go through all of these. But most of these you're going to be using the warfare tree in particular to up your damage and to up your status effects as well, and shields and things like that, which is very important. As you can see here, I have Arcane Supremacy, which gives me an extra 1300 magicka, which is quite good overall. And the Untamed Aggression, which is an extra 150 weapon and spell damage. Not only that, guys, you want to have the Boon of the Mage, especially if you're doing this as a DPS character, which you should be anyway. And this will give you, I think, an extra 2000 magicka as well. So once you add up all of these different bonuses, you should be getting a lot of damage. You know, I put everything infused for the most part with my gear, and that's because I'm going for raw damage. And not only that, if I can get enough raw healing, which is what most of my abilities do, along with the spam heal of the matriarch, this is how I basically keep myself alive, which is really handy. You've also got Wrathful Strikes, which grants you 41 weapon and spell damage per stage, so an extra 205 weapon and spell damage, which is obviously good for basically penetration. And yeah, it's relatively simple to build this overall. Like I say, focus mostly. I mean, I'm only level 1309, I think, as of this video, guys. So overall, I'm not even close to like being completely leveled out, where I've used basically every single champion point that's available in the game currently. You know, I'm not even halfway there yet. You know. So this is just a sort of a lower level build for people who are sort of over 1,000, at least over 1,000 champion points spread out overall. And now what we're going to do is we are now into the red tree as well. In this particular branch, guys, you are going to be focusing on your survivability, and you are going to be dealing with your damage shields as well. So as a sorc, you have a direct damage shield, so the more powerful you can make that, with Thaumaturge for an example, that will actually boost your damage up overall, and it will, especially with that particular maneuver, and it will just help with all your buffs as well, and make you more resistant. You really want to focus on making sure you've got the largest health pool that you can as well. I think I'm about 27k in total from mine, because obviously all of my attribute points are in magicka and not in health or even stamina. I found actually that playing as a stamina character, funnily enough, is actually, it seems more difficult to maintain your resources than as a sorcerer. You can also use some of these points to make you more resistant to elemental status effects, and also to things like other players being able to damage you in PvP as well. So now, guys, we've completed the champion point section. We're actually going to test this out a bit, just using the pet. And of course, it's not a huge amount of damage that I'm doing overall, because at the end of the day, we are using a dummy. And I'm not, you know, I'm not dealing with like major debuffs and everything else that I would usually be able to dish out. The dummies don't give you an accurate number. They can let you see what you're doing, but a lot of my damage is damage over time. But 9,386 or something it was that I got, like that's per second, which is quite good. That's a lot of damage per second overall, and that's not including any heavy attacks that I'm doing, especially having an infernal staff, which can give you status effects. Things like the ice comet, other stuff like that, it can really, once you start building the dots, you do a significant amount of damage. With your rotations, guys, what you're really going to want to do is you are going to want to place down your shortest dots last and your longest dots first, and your area of effect dots as quickly as possible as well. And this is the best way to utilize this build, and then that way you can keep your upkeep up permanently and be healing yourself continuously as well, especially with things like structured entropy. So as you can see in the corner there's my little DPS there, and yeah, it was about 9,300. But what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to look at the companion part, because the companion can be utilized. I actually utilize my companion as a hybrid of healing and of doing damage. Personally, mostly damage, so I'm using the Companion's Ice Staff because Sharp as Night is a warden. And we have the Cuirass as well, which is in purple. I managed to keep most of his gear in purple. I actually got 2 rings from the current event that's on in High Isle, from the major coffers that you get, which I was very happy with, because it's actually hard getting purple jewelry. Not only that, purple jewelry for companions is worth a lot of money in the right trait, because purple is the highest you can get. There have been cases of the odd bit of gold jewelry, but I think that was for some sort of event. When it comes to the skills, Perennial Bloom is really good for giving. It's basically like putting down a garden of healing, basically 1,803 per second. And then Swoop is basically the Warden's ability for the Summon Cliff Racer you could use. And Sleep Mail is a damage shield that reduces your damage by 20% for 6.1 seconds. And Infest is a dot which will last over 8.2 seconds, which is really handy, by the way, especially when you're putting down your own dots. Reverse Entropy is basically like what we're using on our back bar, but it heals you instead of healing the companion. So if he fires that off and then another healing ability, you've got a lot of different abilities going. And then we have Gore, which is the ultimate ability. My Sharpest Knight is max level, he is level 20. So this does an extra 26,420 damage. So if you can actually proc his ultimate and your ultimate, you can do like 60k damage in like 2 to 3 seconds, and then that's without adding on any of your own personal dots. So if you timed it all right, I reckon you could probably easily get in one instance probably about 60-70k DPS for at least a split second, which is quite a lot when you're hitting a boss. I mean, that would take out most delve bosses instantly, you know. This is also a good way of building up your rapport as well with your companions. So, you know, you should always try and have your companions out for any build, especially with things like Infinite Archives or doing world bosses like what I'm doing here. And I will be doing videos on companions in the future, guys. So yeah, if you have been enjoying the video, please like, share and subscribe, as it really helps me. I really want to know what you think of the build as well, guys. And I would really like to know if you would try and test this build out, or if you've made similar builds yourself. So overall, this fight took me about, I think it was 2 minutes of footage I got in total for doing this fight. Now, bearing in mind, this boss is about, what, 5-6 million health? So realistically speaking, per minute, I was roughly doing about 2.5 million, which is quite a lot. I don't know how you would divide that by 60 exactly, but yeah, that's quite a lot of damage. So this build does do very well, and it's really good at self-sustaining. And I also found it's really good at keeping you alive. I mean, you're getting constant ticks of health from yourself and your companions, and then you've also got your spammable for being able to, in effect, heal yourself, you know, with the matriarch. And you've also got, obviously, your spammable with your crystal frags as well, which can be really, really handy because you can fire a lot of them out quickly with animation cancelling, which is really, really handy. You can also change this out for an execute as well if you would want. Personally, it's not my thing. So yeah, guys. Well, this is the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. And like I say, please like, share and subscribe. Let me know what you think of everything. And yeah, this has been Crypto Gamer, guys. Have a great day. Peace out.